Listen up, gentlemen. A lot of you guys are texting girls the wrong way. You're using a lot of creativity and brain power with every new girl that you're talking to, whether it's in person, whether it's from a dating app, Instagram, and you're using a lot of brain power, mental glycogen, thinking of that perfect, witty text to send to her. And if you're doing it that way, you're doing it completely wrong. And I have a much better way. What I'm about to talk about is irrefutably the best way to text women. So the problem with what a lot of you guys are doing, which is spending a lot of time, maybe you're asking your friends for advice, you're going back and forth like, oh, should I send this? Is this a good text, etc. The reason why this is such a big problem, maybe it's already pretty obvious to you, is because women, unfortunately, have a very flaky nature and they love to use and abuse us poor guys for free attention. So I said, I got a much better way, pretty much a copy and paste way to text girls. More on that in just a second. But first of all, let's close our eyes for a second. Close your eyes and imagine a reality where you would get 3 matches on a dating app and then all 3 would want to meet up with you. Be pretty sweet, right? That's probably the reality of like most women on dating apps. Probably 80% of the guys they match with actually want to go out. But for us, sadly, it is not the case. Now, we've all been there. You text girls, you're going back and forth, and every time it comes time to hang out, they don't want to do it. You've wasted weeks and months giving her free validation, free dopamine hits. She will just let you compliment her and text her, even if she has no intention of meeting up with you a lot of the time. Now, wouldn't it be much better if instead of investing weeks and months and a lot of hours and a lot of brain power before you got flaked, if you only wasted, let's say, 30 minutes rather than many hours? It'd be a much, much better, right? So this flaking and ghosting will always happen, but the best way to minimize your precious time being wasted is, like I said, you have a copy and paste format. You're texting all the women the exact same way, like a chatbot. We'll get into exactly how to do that in just a second. So when you do this, not only do you save time, but you also become more efficient as well. It's like a sales script, right? Like anybody who calls you out of the blue, they're all following a sales script, no matter what they're trying to sell you. There's a guy on YouTube called Jeremy Miner. Some guys may have heard of him. He's like one of these influencer sales gurus. I've never bought one of his products, but it seems pretty cool, his stuff. And I'm not going to get off on a long tangent about this, but he had some video where he was like cold calling for like house flipping. He was doing a sales script for some company, and they kept getting, people hanging up on them because they get so many offers for their home. But he was able to hook their attention by writing a sales script where he goes, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I was just looking over your tax records on, the buy and sell purchase history for your home. And, I found something interesting here. And, then he launches into, then eventually he makes his pitch. But the point being is that he noticed that by saying, I have your tax records in front of me, people kind of freak out like, oh shit, is the IRS? Are they auditing me? And they wouldn't hang up, and he'd have their attention long enough to kind of make his spiel. And it was like, 6,000% more effective. You need to be doing the same thing. You need to be keeping track of your best messages, your funniest stories, your most high value stories, whatever it is, whatever's working, so that when you're texting girls, you have this not only predictable script, but it's also very efficient. So it's saving time because you're not thinking, it's copy and paste. It's the same thing for every girl. And then also, it's going to get a good reaction. So some examples of some real world examples that I have in my database. By the way, I'm going to share my database with you in just a second. It's like over 70 plus copy and paste messages. So stay tuned for that. But, and for free. But back to my point. Once upon a time, a girl asked me like, hey, so what are you doing? What are you up to? And I said, nothing much. I'm just at the gym so I can say looking sexy for you. And it got a pretty good reaction. It was kind of a, cocky, funny, flirtatious, text. And it just got a pretty good reaction. So now I tend to use that, right? And then it launches into conversation about how I like fit girls. Does she work out, et cetera? Helps me screen her. Again, also another example, once upon a time, I asked a girl just out of the blue what types of guys she's into, both, physically and personality. And it led to a very interesting conversation. So now I do it like over and over again. I think you guys are getting the point, but again, once upon a time, I realized that by talking about a girl's content, the photos, stories, and videos that she has on her Hinge or on her Instagram, always led to conversation that was interesting and developed a connection, whether it's the fact that she's always at the gym. Like I noticed that she's at the gym when we talk about fitness, or I noticed that she travels a lot. and we talk about travel. Like, hey, how many stamps do you have in your passport? I wonder which one of us has more, right? Or whether the fact that, I don't know, she has something entrepreneurial, like a business she does, but whatever it was, if I was to make conversation based on her content, it did well every single time. So now I do that. So action plan for you guys. Here's where we're getting into the juice. I want you somewhere, notes on your phone, a Google Doc, wherever it is, probably not notes on your phone because that'll get lost, but save your best stuff, your best stories. Anytime you used a nice curiosity-based opener that got the girl to respond on a dating app, or you told an interesting high-value story or something cool happened to you, write that shit down and keep it in a database. I've already done this for you, though, by the way. So go to my Instagram, redbeardrantz1, and message me the word database. Just database, just that one word, nothing else. And I will send you a database of over 70 plus copy and paste messages you can send to girls. Okay, so there's everything from openers to conversational threads that always make things really interesting. There are flirtatious getting to know you questions, ways to reinitiate conversations with girls left you on read in a funny way that maybe 20-30% of the time gets them hooked back and responding on you. There are screening questions if you want to meet, I don't know, for example, feminine girls, and also just ways you can screen girls to see if they're actually down to meet up. Ultimately, if you guys watch my other content, I just copy and paste some bullshit and then propose we get on a video call as quickly as possible. Because if they won't get on a video call with you, they damn sure won't go on a date with you. And it's like a way to test the waters and make sure you actually like the connection you have with her, that you guys have chemistry before wasting your time committing to a date. Just an example of something that's in this database, by the way. A flirtatious question I've asked is, I'll just ask this out of the blue. I'll say, hey, try to get to know you better. Complete this sentence for me. If a guy does blank, oh my God, that's like the sexiest thing ever. Again, if a guy does this thing, if a guy does blank, oh my God, that's like the sexiest thing ever to me. What would it be? A girl one time told me that she likes it when a guy gets her flowers. And it led to a very interesting conversation about the debate, is chivalry dead? And, why is it dead? Did men kill it? Did women kill it? Blah, blah, blah. But then also, her answer to it, she likes when a guy brings her flowers. I used that information. I brought her flowers to the first date, which is something I've never done before, but she told me that she likes it. So I followed her own advice and I did it. And then 2 hours into the date, 3 hours, whatever, I had her back at my place and she was already swallowing my children. So it was a very successful evening, and I got that idea of getting her flowers from one of the questions in this database. So again, go to redbeardrantz1, message me the word database. I will send you my database of these openers, flirtatious getting to know you questions, whatever. So when you guys get stuck, you could just launch into one of these questions. Also some generic high value stories in there. You can maybe make your own. One generic story I told was yeah, this taxi driver tried to rip me off. He did something to the meter where it tried to make it, way overcharge me, but I argued with him. And in the end, I just gave him the fair price, not the inflated price that he tried to charge me with. Again, makes me seem like a guy who doesn't take shit from people. I'm not afraid of confrontation. She could feel protected with me, perhaps alpha, masculine, all those good qualities. And it worked out well. So now I use that story and it's part of the database. Again, redbeardrantz1 on Instagram. Message me the word database. Over 70 messages you can use. There you go, gentlemen. Don't waste your time and effort. Just text girls like a chatbot and save your time. That's it. Peace.